Hi. The last couple videos I've put out, I have meant to mention something and I keep forgetting. So before we go any further in this video, I just want to give a shout out to 144 from the Stars Tarot. But the reason for this is that when I was unsure of what direction I wanted this channel to take, and I really wasn't putting out any new content, he actually had a lot of good advice in some of his videos that I meditated upon and took to heart. So largely the new direction of this channel is honestly, very closely tied to, the things that he was saying. Ian, Trina, your little baby, Bloop, and of course Odin, I wish nothing but the brightest blessings upon your household. That being said, today we are going to be covering a tutorial for a white magic ritual of my own design. Now, again, please, if you watched my last video, I'll just be a very quick recap. Remember, in my practice, white magic specifically refers to any ceremony, ritual, or working that is specifically designed to foster a communion with God rather than any type of, wish fulfillment or desire manifestation. So this will be a white magic ritual. There was something else I was going to mention there. Anyhow, so white magic. Oh, yes, I remember what it was. And also, please remember, this ritual will actually utilize 13 sacred names of God. And these 13 names come from the original Hebrew. Now, if you remember from previous videos, I see all manifestations of God, whether it be, Allah or Diana or what have you, as just different aspects of the one true source. So I know that some people have a problem with Abrahamic religions due to personal experiences. So if you fall in that category, feel free to substitute the sacred names for, something that resonates more closely with you. Again, I personally use the Hebrew sacred names of God. There's 13 of them used for a very specific reason in esotericism and the occult. 13 is a very significant number. Judeo-Christian front, there were 12 disciples plus Jesus equaling 13. There's 13 lunar cycles in a year, and there are 13 Archimedean solids that can be derived from the 5 Platonic solids, which symbolize creation and the building blocks of reality. So that's why there's 13 names involved in this. The Waters of Reconciliation ritual or ceremony, if you would prefer that word, I use it as most often as a standalone ritual when something is weighing heavily on my heart or mind, when I feel I need spiritual cleansing, protection. And that being said, it can also be used as a precursor to other magical works to ensure that your intent is pure at the offset. We'll go into that in a little more detail momentarily. Now, because I believe in transparency, parts of the ritual are based upon existing rituals, such as the middle pillar and portions of the lesser banishing. Let me try that again. Portions of the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram. Like most magical work, visualization is important in this. We'll go over what you need to see and when. But there is a slight difference here. This is a very soft and reverent ritual. And ceremonial magic, when you speak sacred names or words of power, you use a technique called vibrating. Uh, I won't go into great detail on exactly what that entails. If you're curious about what I mean by that, then you can feel free to Google it. You'll find plenty of information. Um, so instead of vibrating the words in this one, we use a whispered technique that I call the breath of the cosmos. The reason I call it breath of the cosmos is when you're whispering these sacred names, you should be visualizing the words as breath just flowing evenly across the universe. What else was I going to say? Oh, because these names and some of the words are in Hebrew, one of my pet peeves is when you are reading a grimoire or some sort of ritual instructions, and it will tell you to say something in another language without telling you exactly what you're saying, what it means. I do not do any rituals if I do not understand exactly what the words I'm saying actually mean. So that is a huge pet peeve of mine. So once the video is recorded, I will actually go in and add some captions before posting that will give the definitions of what I'm saying. Also, a note is sometimes ceremonial magicians catch some flack because they may mispronounce some of the Hebrew words, especially if they're not Jewish. To me, that is not a big deal. Like most magic, what matters most is intent. If I pronounce one of the sacred names of God, incorrectly, it's not the syllables that matter. It's what I'm feeling in my heart and inside when I say that word. So I am not a huge stickler on pronunciation. So if I pronounce something, differently than, what you feel it should be pronounced, you don't have to feel the need to call out in the comments. I realize my pronunciations may not be 100% spot on, but again, it's the intent. I also want to note a couple of definitions that I used toward well, I was going to say the end, but you'll see how it's actually the middle part of the Waters of Reconciliation ritual is the portion called the benediction. I use two terms in there that I feel I should clarify. The first term is transgressions. Now, when I use the phrase transgressions, I am not just referring to things I have done wrong. What would normally be considered sins. That's definitely part of it, but I use a much broader sense of the word when I say transgressions, and that I mean it's anything that doesn't work toward the highest good of the soul. This could be jealousy, anger. Those who've watched my alchemy loss videos know that I have suffered from PTSD. So it can also be, anxiety, depression, that sort of thing. So I use a very broad definition of transgressions in that benediction section. Similarly, yeah, I said it right that time. Similarly, I use the word chaste. When I use the word chaste, I am not referring to it in a sexual sense, as I see sex as being a very, it can be a very powerful magical tool, but I also see it as a sacred union between the two souls. So when I say chaste, I'm not necessarily referring to sex, but instead I am referring to the purity of my spirit, if that makes sense. So, yeah, that's the definitions I wanted to go over there. So now getting into the ritual itself, it's divided into 5 parts. First, there's the initial praise, and that is followed by the Kabbalistic Cross, and that comes with this portion of the lesser banishing ritual and pentagram. From there, we move into what I call the circle of divinity. Something to note here is that as we go through it step by step, breaking them down, you will notice that some of the energies move while others are static. I don't know why the energies move. I don't know why some are static. I don't even know why they appear in the positions they do. That's just the way the energy presented itself to me when the ritual is being developed. So there's that. I also mentioned earlier that this can be used as a precursor for other magical works. And during the circle of divinity, we are forming a circle of energy around us vertically. Most magical operations, you put a horizontal circle of protection around you. However, it doesn't have to be horizontal, because all we're doing is we're encompassing ourselves in an energetic egg of divine light. And so whether it's horizontal or vertical, it both works. So that's how, this portion can be used as a precursor to other works. Once we're done with the circle of divinity, we move into the ephemeral pillar, which is based upon the middle pillar ritual in ceremonial magic. And from there, we then move into the benediction section. Now, a moment ago, I said that the benediction section, that I was tempted to refer to it as the last step, but it's actually the middle. The reason I said that is once we're done with the benediction section, we basically back out of the ritual by going in reverse order. So you'll do your benediction, then you go back to the ephemeral pillar, then back to the circle of divinity, then back to the Kabbalistic Cross, and then back to your initial praise, which in this case would be the closing praise. When doing this as a standalone, I normally do at least 3 repetitions. Again, 3, very sacred number. However, if something is weighing more heavily on my conscience, I might do it for a, total of 6 or 9 times. I always try to do them in, sets of 3. Now, there was a time when I spiritually fucked up big time. I'm human. It happens. But when I realized what I'd done, I utilized this ritual to go about setting my soul to right and atoning for, what I had done. Some people might think it's extreme, but in that situation, I performed this ritual for about 2.5 hours. If you don't feel it's, that's extreme, and you ever find yourself in a need where you really have atonement, issues that you want to address, and you feel like, this would be a good way, once you pass a certain point, I just stopped counting the 3 repetitions, and that night that I did it for the 2.5 hours, I just kept repeating the ritual until I felt I was internally and spiritually cleansed. So that is an overview of the ritual. Let's break it down. What we're going to do now is I'm going to go very slowly and without the breath of the cosmos technique. I am going to go over step by step each of those 5 sections, and then I will follow that up with a demonstration of the whole thing put together, including Breath of the Cosmos. So we'll start with that initial praise. A lot of rituals, will start by saying something like, take 3 slow cleansing breaths. I don't have a set amount. You should start with the slow rhythmic cleansing breaths, but I don't have a set amount on them. Just breathe until you feel the energy starting to flow through you. As it starts flowing, then you feel the energy gathering in the palms of your hands. Once you feel that, then we begin by just looking up and visualizing probably about 6 inches or so above your head, just this vibrant field of divine energy just radiating above you. Once you see that, then we'll start by raising the hands approximately shoulder level, palms out, slightly in front of you, and you will just give a repetition of holy, holy. Then you will breathe in, and the next exhale, we raise our hands up, holy, holy, again, holy, holy. And the next one, we raise our hands all the way above our heads into that field of energy. I'm not sure how far my hands go up on the camera, so I have them kind of low now, hopefully so it's being within the frame. But in practice, you would reach up into that field of energy above your hand with your head, with your wrists either together or almost together. And then you would finish off that part by saying, holy is thy name. Then on the inhale, you drop your non-dominant hand to your lap. And on the next exhale, you will pull down some of that light into your head. As you're exhaling, you say the word Ata. Now, Ata means basically thou art. Another inhale. On the exhale, you pull it down straight in front of you as you say the word Malkuth, which is the kingdom. Inhale, and you bring it up to the center of the chest. Exhale, you go to the right, straight across towards your shoulder as you say Vegbura, which is the power. Inhale, back to the center. Exhale to the left as you say Vegdula, which is the glory. Inhale, bring it back to the center. Now you can clasp your hands like this or like this, just, like however you want to do it in praise. And once there, then we say Leolam, Amen. Leolam is forever. Amen, pretty much everyone knows that, but technically the translation of it is basically so be it or so be. Once you've done this, you should in the beginning, if this is the first time you've done it, then you should see a blazing cross of brilliant white light in front of you. With practice, you will eventually become that blazing cross of light. So that's the end goal. But if you only visualize it for now, that is perfect. That's fine. So once we've completed that Kabbalistic cross, then we will once again take a look at the energy above you, but now it condenses down into an energetic orb that's about 6 inches or so above your head. And again, we are utilizing the breath of the cosmos technique. This is where we start the sacred names of God. Looking up at that energy, we will say the sacred name of God, Yaruvove. The energy then appears to your right. If you want to think of it as a clock face, this will be in the 3 o'clock position. As you say the sacred name Adonai. The end ball of energy is then in the 6 o'clock position. And on this one, we use the sacred name Ehiye. Now, on this one is slightly different. This is where we see the energy start to move. As you're saying Ehiye, then that energy is actually circling around and ending up in the 9 o'clock position. Then when you inhale from the 9 o'clock, that energy comes in to about the center of your chest, and you exhale with the sacred name Agla. And as you say Agla, it just flows back out into that 9 o'clock position. The next sacred name is El Chai. With El Chai, the energy just appears at the 10 o'clock position. After that, the sacred name is El. El initially just appears at the 11 o'clock position, but as you exhale and you whisper El in that breath of the cosmos technique, it moves up into the 12 o'clock position. From there, the sacred name will be Elohim. When you whisper Elohim, the energy moves all the way back down around into the 6 o'clock position again. The next inhale will be more deeply and slowly and fully than we've done so far. And as you take that deep breath in, what you're doing is you're feeling that energy rise up through the soles of your feet into your chest, and you feel it just blossoming and filling you entirely from within. And when you exhale, it will also be like more slowly, more intentional, and just filled with reverence as you say the sacred name Yahashua or Yaheshua. As you say that name and you're exhaling, the energy forms yet another sphere. And this one is about in front of your face, again, about 6 inches out from your body. So you'll see that sphere. You'll take an inhale. When you exhale, there comes another sacred name upon the exhalation, which is Yoduvove Elohim. On your next inhale, a bit like a stream of energy will drop from the bottom of that sphere and descend till it's about chest level. When you exhale, a second sphere forms as you say the sacred name Yaduvove Eloavadath. And so now you got two spheres connected by a central energy. Inhale, the line drops from the bottom of the second sphere, goes down. Third sphere comes about, like roughly like belly level. And with that one, the sacred name when you exhale and it forms is Shaddai El Chai. Another breath, the energy drops more. And then you have a third sphere forming, a fourth sphere forming, as you say the sacred name, Adonai Rez. Again, once you say that fourth sacred name in that portion, you will take a more slow, deeper breath. And as you do so, see yourself pulling those four interconnected spheres deep into the center of your own being. And then when you exhale, all four of them and the connecting lines radiate outward just brilliantly. Again, like the Kabbalistic Cross, eventually you will get to the point where you become that pillar. That pillar is the pillar of balance, balancing severity and mercy. That's beside the point right now. From that section, we move to the benediction. I should note that the benediction is inspired by a prayer. As far as I could tell, it was developed specifically for the movie A Dark Song. If you like occult-themed horror movies and you haven't seen A Dark Song, highly recommend it. It's based upon the Abramelin ritual, and while they do take some liberties with how the ritual is performed, I felt it did an excellent job of capturing just how grueling the Abramelin operation can be. So anyhow, I just wanted to put that out there because I believe in transparency. So to go into the benediction section, once we've pulled that energy inside and we breathe like the 4 spheres and we breathe it out with force and intention very slowly, that will be the first of 3 breaths. The second breath would, you would take your rhythmic inhale, but then you would do what I call dumping of the breath, where you just very quickly exhale in almost a quick pant. You'd be like, and then the third breath, you just go back to the standard rhythmic breathing you've been doing all along. Now we get to the actual benediction. For this section, we start off, we're not doing the breath of the cosmos initially. We will say the first benediction a little louder than what we have been. It should still be quiet and reverent. You don't need to like shout it, but it should still be quiet and reverence. And this is the benediction I use. Feel free to substitute your own. I actually recommend it, as our relationship with God is a very intimate, personal thing. But for purposes of instruction, I will use mine. After I've had those 3 breaths, I will inhale, and on the exhale, I will say the benediction. May all my transgressions be washed, leaving me chaste and pure. I will then inhale again, and on the next exhale, I'll give the second part of the benediction, which is, may my light be with me, guiding me, protecting me. Normally, when I say guiding me, I usually see the light out in the distance, almost like a star that I'm following or navigating by. And when I say protecting me, I see it as an energetic shield around me, just a divine and like arm wrapped around me. After that, we will take 3 standard slow rhythmic breaths. As you're breathing these in, what you are doing is you are bringing, like, that white divine light that we pictured in the benediction, bringing it into your body, letting it fill you, breathing it out. After the 3rd breath, we will repeat that same benediction we just went over, only this time it's a little softer. What we're doing here is we are starting off with the benediction out into the world, and we do it softer. We're bringing it in closer to our own personal sphere. Once you've done the 2nd repetition of the benediction, then you will do 3 more slow rhythmic breaths. This time, however, the breaths are a little bit different. When I inhale the first one and I exhale, I picture like a blue energy coming into me, filling me, washing me out from within. The exhale, that wave washes out. 2nd breath, I pull it back in again. And on the 2nd exhale, which, this might be more clear when I do the demonstration, but the exhale, I see it as moving like a wave. The 3rd inhale, the blue energy is all around me, and I am pulling it through every pore of my body into my inner space, letting it fill me, and then pushing that blue light back out through my pores again, which takes us to the 3rd repetition of the benediction. And by this point, we are back to that reverent whisper. We've now pulled it deep within us to where it is strictly between us and God. Once you've finished that repetition of the benediction, you will take a standard, like slow rhythmic breath. And your 2nd breath, it will be your slow rhythmic inhale, but then you will again dump the breath. Then you will take another like very slow, full, intentional breath, pulling all that energy into you. And when you exhale, you'll do it through pursed lips, as if you were getting ready to whistle or perhaps kiss someone. And you will blow the energy out through those pursed lips. As you're blowing it out, you should see it as a concentrated stream that forms that sphere in front of your face. Once you have that sphere, then that takes us back into the ephemeral pillar, drop them down, pull them in, radiate out, which takes us then, once it's radiates out, the energy flows up, gathers into the sphere above our head, which takes us into the circle of divinity, and it circles around, bring back in, exhale with the reverence Yehoshua, and that energy should go out, form a cloud above you, where we go back into the Kabbalistic Cross. And from the Kabbalistic Cross, we go back into the closing praise of holy, 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 holy be that name. And like I said, I do that 3 times. So now that I've just described it, let's put it all together in a demonstration.
Transgressions be washed, leaving me chaste and pure. May my light be with me, guiding me, protecting me, protecting me. May all my transgressions be washed, leaving me chaste and pure. May my light be with me, guiding me, protecting me.
So that's how it's done. I'm very curious to know what you think about this ritual and how it works for you. I personally find it to be an extremely powerful ritual. I connect and commune with God. This ritual like crazy. I know my wife, she thinks it's pretty powerful too. She performed it with me one evening outside of our little family. I don't know how it works for anyone else. What I'm really curious about is the moving energies. If you do this ritual, let me know. Do the energies move the same way for you as they do for me? If not, it's okay. And like I said, I don't know. I'm just really curious. So definitely, try the ritual. Let me know what you how it works for you, what you think in the comments. I'm going to wrap this up real quick. I want to give a sneak peek that my wife and I, when we go to sleep at night, we often put on binaural beats or angelic music. One night we had this loop of it was beautiful. It was like singing and music, and it was Psalms 91 sang in the original Aramaic, and it was just looped over and over, and that was so beautiful. Anyhow, we tend to go to sleep to stuff like that, or sometimes singing bowls, so that even as we slumber, we are maintaining a higher frequency and a positive environment. So one of the plans I have in the future is I want to make a 8 to 11 hour loop with some meditational music with binaural beats, to where I incorporate the ritual we just went over, waters of reconciliation, and incorporate it with some other banishing rituals and blessings, so that viewers of this channel, if they would like, they could go to sleep with this set of rituals, looping over and over, and thus giving them divine protection and blessings through the night. So if that's something you think you'd be interested in, just watch for that. Once again, Ian at 144 from the Stars to Row. Thank you for everything you do, sir. Much love, much respect to you and your family. Till next time, everyone, thank you for watching. Thank you for being part of this channel. And until my next video, as always, walk in peace and light, my friends.